Time and time again, history proves that warfare isn't entirely a game of numbers. The Clash of Yultong in April 1951 was not merely a battle of equals, it was a test of resolve, a moment where a small battalion of Filipino soldiers stood against overwhelming odds. The Korean War was not just a clash between North and South Korea, but a proxy war between communism and democracy. On one side stood the North Koreans and their allies, the Chinese, backed up by Soviet Union themselves. And on the other side stood the South Koreans, backed up by the United Nations and its member state. They were primarily led by the United States of America. After North Korea invading the South Korea in 1950, United Nations forces came to defend South Korea. Among them were the Filipino soldiers of the 10th Battalion Combat Team, part of the Philippine Expeditionary Force to Korea. They were known as the PEFTOK. At 8 p.m. on 22nd April 1951, the calm broke. Chinese artillery thundered across the valley, pounding the Filipino position. The spring offensive had begun. As darkness fell, the Chinese opened fire with artillery and mortar and then began advancing in waves. Communications were cut, and Filipino battalion found themselves isolated. Company after company of the battalion were pressed on all sides, ammunition dwindled and casualties mounted. Yet, despite chaos and confusion, the Filipinos refused to break. At one point, a Filipino unit held its ground against three successive assaults, bayonets fixed and firing till their rifles grew hot. Their stand brought precious hours for the United Nations forces to regroup and hold the broader line. All night the battle raged. Chinese bugles sounded fresh assaults. Still, the Filipinos held their ground. By dawn, Yultong was scarred and broken. Over 500 Chinese casualties lay dead, but only 100 Filipinos lay dead and wounded. Almost 40,000 soldiers of the Chinese army had been repulsed by 900. The battalion's resistance delayed the Chinese offensive, allowing Allied forces to stabilize the front. For their valor at Yultong, the Filipino soldiers received international recognition. But more importantly, they etched their legacy into the annals of the Korean War, a testament to courage against impossible odds. The Battle of Yultong was more than just a clash on a cold Korean hillside. It was proof that courage, discipline, and determination could outweigh overwhelming odds. The Filipino soldiers of the PEFTOK stood firm against impossible odds, not only saving their comrades but etching their place in history as defenders of freedom on foreign soil. Their valor reminds us that in war, true strength is not measured by the size of an army, but by the resolve of those willing to stand their ground. Thank you. This was Count Wunderbar signing off.